Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Where we bring Africa economy determines
Patrick, you continue. Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikena Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, man about the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
2 years her name. I Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I mean, like, well, this TV station will go places. Voice of the People TV.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Ovisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
It's a beautiful Friday morning, and I welcome you to Voice of the People Television. Now, the program is VOP this morning. We are 5-6 days away from Christmas, and to me, it doesn't look like, I don't see Christmas in the air. But let's see what happens. Probably by 2 or 3 days, we'll see Christmas in the air. I'm Chukwuma Okoro, and in the next 2 hours, we are going to take you through very interesting stories here in Nigeria. Come along with us. Let's explore these stories. Nigerians call for government action following the discovery of killer herdsmen camp in Enugu. And when we move away from that, Kwara Assembly suspends lawmaker over secret recording. And we understand that the Senate has confirmed the 64 ambassadorial nominees. Now, these are the major topics of discussion for today. But we also have other interesting trending stories.
Yes,
Join
of
us
course.
as we get into all of them.
Yes, of course. These conversations and other interesting stories that Nigerians are talking about. So we'll let you into all of that. I am Moses Humphrey. Good morning and compliments of the season.
I'm Fina Okechi. Good to have you join us on today's VOP this morning. And talking about trending stories, the federal government has ordered the reopening of all the Unity colleges it earlier shut down. In November, the federal government shut down some 44 Unity colleges and cited security threats in parts of the country as a reason. The decision was made after armed bandits attacked 3 schools within 1 month, while hundreds of students were abducted. In a statement on Thursday, Boriowo Folashade, Ministry of Education spokesperson, said the government had ordered that the schools should be reopened to ensure that no child is denied access to education. The ministry assured the general public that the safety, welfare and well-being of the students are guaranteed. The federal government has also reaffirmed its responsibility to protect every Nigerian child and to uphold their constitutional right to education in a secured setting. The decision to reopen the Unity colleges reflects the administration's determination to ensure that no child is denied access to education due to security concerns. The first question on my mind is, all right, about the St. Mary's Catholic School, have all of them now been freed? Have all of them been reunited with their family members? That's the first question. And I believe that some years ago also, the government made such promises about how every child should not be denied access to education and how security should be top on the priority. And also have the likes of Leah Shoaibu still within the enclave of the people that kidnapped her and some of the schoolgirls too. All the Chibok girls, have they been reunited with their parents? Those are the questions on the mind and lips of Nigeria. Now, first of all, I frown at the fact that the government should take the initiative of shutting down Unity schools or colleges because of insecurity instead of fighting the insecurity headlong. But now that they've come up to say we want to reopen our Unity school, we're talking about secondary school, federal colleges, yes, that's the Unity school that we're talking about here. They've decided to do what? To reopen them, saying that they are determined to ensure that every child will go back to school, will not be denied access to education and all that. And the government did not tell us what will happen. Who are we going to hold responsible and how are we going to hold them responsible if peradventure, some people decide to sabotage the life and also the educational access of these children by going further for abduction. Recall that the story surrounding the Maga Aquarius to the KB school girls that were abducted in school that led to the death of their vice principal and the security man. We're yet to know who made the call, who took away the military personnel's position to secure the area. Nigerians are yet to find answers to that because no one is telling us anything. We're being kept in the dark. The back and forth is too much. Then also, if something happened and, I think in KB we lost the vice principal and the security man. Government did not tell us what really happened to them, apart from saying our heart goes out to the family of loved ones and this and that and that. Who are we supposed to hold responsible, if anything, is to go wrong. If, I'm not being pessimistic here, I'm a very optimistic person, but, you know, with the way things are going, the way some people are defending unscrupulous elements, the way some Nigerians, India, I don't want to talk about, the way some Nigerians are being vocal about how Nigerian military should not go all out with full force to take out terrorists, to take out people who've noticed and who've already asserted that they are not really doing us any good because of religions or even tribal sentiments. It's appalling. Because I don't see the reason someone is saying that the likes of Christopher Musa should not go all out in squashing these elements, in killing them, in taking them out, this. They shouldn't work with Yanda Badaza, the Joint Task Force team, to take out all the people that you and I know have killed Nigerians, have killed the military, have killed innocent children, especially in Benue State, where we got the first-hand information about a 2-year-old child being slaughtered, being set ablaze, and every other person that lost their life, and people are still holding breath for them. Some are saying, let's give them or grant them amnesty. Let's see how this goes on. But if anything is to go wrong, government tell us how we're going to hold you responsible, so that I, Fina, can come back on the white table to dissect it too.
Oh, well, you've said quite a lot already, and I mean, you're going back to school. It's a good thing if they go back to school, if their protection is guaranteed. If but there's the issue of who called back the security personnel guarding that school, MAGA. That's in MAGA.
Yes.
Yeah. There's still that question. It hasn't been answered, and can we truly guarantee the safety of our pupils if you say go back to school? Well, government would need to answer that question. Or is it go back to school so we can have more children to pick? Is that it? I think a lot of people have lost faith in government's ability to protect them as it is. Parents have lost children. Some parents have died from heart attack due to the fact that their children taken from them forcefully, and they didn't know whether they would come back home or not. And that has been the story of the Nigerian child and our leaders. I saw an interview somewhere granted by an individual, I can't remember his name off the cuff right now, and he was talking about the new Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, saying, look, you can't go after Fulani bandits.
Usman.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for reminding me. So you can't go after Fulani bandits. You can't wage war against them because they are our people. And, you know, I was flipping through my phone when I encountered the video, and I just dropped my phone like, seriously? At this time?
Are you surprised? This is not the first time. We had a president, former president of this country, say that, Buhari.
At this time?
No. And the North, in fact, the North as a collective said, look, you can't do, if you kill Boko Haram, you are killing our people. Here, Jericho, you are killing our people. At that point,
you shouldn't be surprised, no. They're coming back. Don't be surprised.
No, don't be.
You don't be. You
This
don't
is
have
not
to
the
be.
first time. Even Gumi, on this station, Gumi has said it.
Exactly.
If Gumi says it, I don't have a problem.
Why?
With Gumi. But these are Gumi is, you know...
He's a doctor. He was once time, what's it called? A former military personnel. And also, he's a preacher of the word because they have his own group. And you say you're not surprised.
And
you're getting this from professor, now you're surprised.
Oh,
you shouldn't be my brother. It is what it is.
That is what it is. That is what it is.
So which
And
parents would want to send their child back to school?
Moses, trust me, a very large percentage of Northerners think in that direction.
No, so good.
So good deal. It's only people that are affected. It's only people that are affected that understand. But those of them that stay in city centers, you know, and they go to madrasas on Fridays.
If you don't know, these guys are freedom fighters.
Fighters, you know.
Freedom fighters.
And that's what against Southerners and infidels and all of that.
That was what Gumi told you. Gumi said it here that we should find a way to negotiate with those boys because they were fighting a holy fight. You recall he said something about the end time coming up and all that.
And he even said that, look, if Trump as much as touches one of them,
they'll go after Christians.
After Christians.
You see?
That they will double up, double down and all of that. So it's not, well, that's a situation in Nigeria. But I think as for opening of federal government colleges, to me, it's a tongue-in-cheek action by the federal government, especially when they say that they want to open the unity schools because they don't want to deny any child access to education. I mean, and if you go to North, if you go to Sokoto, Zamfara, these places pose the highest number of out-of-school children. What has the federal government done about all of that? Nothing. Practically nothing, you know. And we hear them say, like, look, okay, the unity schools need to be reopened, you know, so that kids will go back to school. Now, are they guaranteeing that these children are safe where they are? I'm not sure they can offer that kind of guarantee because there are still issues around insecurity. We are still looking for some that were kidnapped years ago, some that were kidnapped months ago. We haven't found them. And like Moses asked, okay, you want to open the school so that what will happen? More people will be picked and all of that. But I think what they are just trying to do is to impress the United States of America, you know, Trump and all of that. Riley Moore, and say, look, even schools have been reopened, have rescued 100 school children and this and that, but it doesn't solve our problem. We keep, you know, living in denial. And the moment as we keep living in denial, we are harming ourselves, we are harming our children, we are harming our future. I like the fact that schools are reopened, but do we guarantee the safety of these children? As we speak, people are still being kidnapped across the length and breadth of Nigeria, north and south, east and west, and everywhere. And we have a government that is very, very particular, very intentional in trying to say, look, they cover up all of these things. We are doing a lot to protect people. But in fact, that we know that they are not. We are still asking questions. Who asked the military to pull back minutes before the bandits went and took those children? Up until this moment, we don't have answers. The new Minister of Defense said, look, I'm going to investigate. It's close to 10 days now that he became the minister, yet we have not been told that, look, we know the person that gave that order. Has the person been court-martialed? Has the person been prosecuted? Has he been sacked from the army and all of that? These are the questions that Nigerians are asking. Unfortunately, we don't have answers.
Do you think we will ever have answers to this question?
We might not.
When this, like the like of this Professor Usman is saying that Christopher Musa is now a political figure, not someone that will just come on to go and wage war against Fulani bandit, that he must understand that he's now a political office holder, not a battlefield soldier.
So when you hear certain comments, you know, these comments from very highly placed people, intellectuals, as a matter of fact, you begin to wonder, you know, the direction that we are traveling. It's quite unfortunate. Well, Federal Ministry of Education, if you are reopening the schools, please guarantee the safety of these children. Let's move away from that. The Nigerian woman has created a wing taller than a 3-story building to secure a hat trick of world records. Helen Williams had previously set records for the world's longest handmade wig at 351.28 meters and the widest wig at 3.65 meters. Williams added that the tallest wig record, she added the tallest wig record after creating a hairpiece that stands 15.37 meters off the top of her head. The wig towers over the building where she posed for photographs and is taller than the Hollywood sign is wide. Well, Williams, a professional wig maker, said the tallest wig was the most difficult record-breaking attempt she had undertaken. Well, she said she used 250 bundles of string hair to make the wig at a cost of more than $3 million. That's 3 million naira. She said the process took 2 weeks and involved numerous technical challenges. Fifi, what's the length of your wig? Let's start from here. Do you know? Is this bone straight or what straight?
Okay, all right. I didn't see that coming, but all the same. Okay, what I'm wearing is human hair.
Okay, it's human hair.
Yes, it's a human hair. That's what I'm putting on.
Okay, you don't know the size, the length.
The length of it is, behind it is 18, and then here is 16.
Okay,
this is 16.
Okay, so you are here to break a record.
No, I'm not.
No, Helen Williams has
How did you
broken a
get
record.
human hair? From humans?
All right. Yeah, we have from humans, exactly, yes.
Humans from where?
Okay, we have
So you're
some
cannibal.
Chinese. I'm not. I'm not.
She didn't make it. She watched it. She just
We
got
have
it
some,
out
I think, Chinese and Indians
That
who
give out their hair?
Yes, they do shave their hairs and then
Can I
people
feel it?
pick them bundles.
Can
and
I
all
feel
that.
it?
Yeah, you can. You can go ahead to feel it. It's different from the strands
Did you watch
of.
that movie?
I don't know
Can I touch
It's different from the strand of. What's
I
it
don't know
called?
the difference, really. I can't tell.
if it were to be maybe what's it called? If it were to be a bone straight,
Yeah.
it has its own texture. SDD, that super double drawn, has its own. Just double drawn has its own texture. Human hair does have their own texture.
Do you
and
care?
all that.
No, as a matter of fact, I don't care. Let me even slam myself.
You have to care.
Let me slam myself. My wife would go make her hair and come back, and I wouldn't see anything. I said, "You've not complimented my hair." I said, "I didn't even know." You
didn't notice. And that's the thing.
I didn't even notice.
A lot of men don't know the difference.
Honestly.
I mean, real men.
I don't know.
I don't mean.
I don't know.
Continue.
A lot of men don't know the difference, but it's an amazing feat that she has accomplished. 3 million, right?
Yeah,
3 million bucks. 3 million naira.
3 million naira worth of hair. So how come they sell one about this length for about
That is
3 million
synthetic.
too?
That
No,
is
the thing is
that's
that
synthetic.
Yes, the one
So the one she used was
25
what?
bundles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of cheaper.
250 bundles of what she used.
250 bundles.
Wow,
Yeah, it's
that's a lot. And how do you join the hair? I think they are joined at.
No,
source.
it depends on how you want it to be. If you want it to be too
Call it
long,
source.
it depends on how you want it to be.
Closure, right?
We have a closure.
This is closure.
No, the one that
talking about your
said the
one
party,
in
the one that said the party in is a closure. So this is the closure. The first one that
Okay, that's the closure. So
they'll have
I think
overheads.
aren't they joined at the closure?
No, they are not. We have first. We have a wig cap. If you want to make a wig, have a
Nah,
wig
eh.
cap. Then you now start
Problem.
laying it, and it's not longer weave on time when you have to get a needle and thread and start fixing everything on your hair.
So
after
how
moving it
how
all
do you
back
think
in.
she joined all those weave-ons
It's very difficult.
to join,
Very, yeah,
right?
very, very difficult to do it. It will have layers, if you ask me, because each one of it will have a cap that it will attach to.
Okay,
Or
okay.
she will find a way to, but she cannot just knit it because it's strands.
Of
We
hair.
don't have anyone longer than, let's say, okay, I think we have 36 inches or 40 inches.
Okay, so
That's
let's
the
just-
one you can put together and all
She might
that.
have gotten about 40 inches
Of
to
it,
work
and then
with.
she'll not start
Because
adding
she
and
did
adding and adding.
351 point something meters.
That's a lot of work.
Very,
That's a lot
very,
of work.
very,
That's
very high work.
She should be commended.
Yes.
For embarking on this one. I mean, it's her passion, and she decided to make a record out of it. So yes.
But is there a
she's-
price
she's-
to all of this?
Yeah,
she's
there
the-
is.
No. The price?
Guinness
No
World
price.
Record.
No
Have-
price.
having that
Yeah,
what's it
it's the
called?
fulfillment.
It's the fulfillment,
Yes.
right?
There's no
And
monetary
probably
price. to
maybe
it.
endorsements.
Probably,
Yes.
yes, from weed companies and the rest. So she has made herself the Rapunzel of our time.
Rapunzel.
She made herself the Rapunzel of our time. So congratulations to her. But let's get into another conversation now. Before we go to newspaper headlines, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has approached the Federal High Court in Lagos to seek an order restraining the federal government from suspending enforcement action relating to the proposed ban on sachet alcohol products. Now, this follows a recent directive from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, which suspended all enforcement actions related to the proposed ban. The SGF directive issued on Monday was in response to interventions by the House of Representatives Committee on Food and Drugs Administration and Control regarding the planned enforcement by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. In November, the Senate asked NAFDAC not to extend the deadline for phasing out alcoholic beverages packaged in sachets beyond December 2025. But as it is, it will go beyond December 2025 because this is December 2025. Now, I understand the intricacies of this proposed ban. Now, these things are harmful. They are easily accessible, poorly produced with ethanol and some of these other things that are harmful to the body, and people consume them in large quantities because they need to get high. It's an easier way to get high. So people consume them, and health-wise, it goes on to affect, kidneys and the body system and the rest of it. That's on one side. On the other side, it's danger to the ecosystem is that these things are not degradable. So they go on to clog waterways and become hazards to the environment and the rest. So it's bad on those fronts. But I think the call for withholding the ban is because of the fact that people will lose their jobs. people whose livelihood depends on the production of this will be affected, and that will aggravate things because, the economy is tense already, which I also understand. But I think the time frame given for the ban has been, long enough, and I think government should stamp its foot down and ensure that this is stopped. Because if you continue, people will continue to produce and say, okay, their jobs will be affected, and they continue to produce things that will continue to be harmful to the people. NAFDAC has its work cut out for it, but without policies that can enable NAFDAC work, how then will they be able to, do what they should be doing? This is ordinary bottled beer that people take. We have them poorly produced, backdoor production, and these things are also harmful. The record of those coming down with kidney diseases in Nigeria is on the increase. If I can get the statistics for you, I will. It's on the increase. And do we have dialysis centers that can easily give people treatment? We have very few of them. And this is pretty expensive. Pretty expensive. So you have people. There was a video of a young man who was pleading for assistance on social media the other day. Obviously his kidney had failed and his body had become bloated from residue of body fluid stored in his system, unable to go out. Now, what would happen if he doesn't get medical help? Probably have his limbs amputated at some point. All right. So, for the benefit of the people, I know those that consume this will hate me for this, but it's for the health benefits of the generality of the public. These things should be curtailed, should be stopped, and this goes on to other gateway drugs that people consume. There should be heavy regulation on availability, on how people get access to these things, codeine and the rest of them. There should be heavy regulation that will prevent people from getting access to these things and prevent the spread.
Yes, I don't understand why the government would like to. This is more like spiting your nose to save your face. I think that's how they say it and all of that. And if we are very considerate about people not losing their job, so we are not interested in people that are dying or what, people that will die as a result of consuming all these substances. It speaks to the kind of priorities we have as a people. And if we are also very careful not to let people lose their job, and we do rationalization, the Russian report at some point said that, look, we are going to lay off a certain number of people. Companies do, it's business. Companies do rationalize, and what do? They bring down the number of staff.
Okay, Fina has helped me with the current statistics. We have about 25 million Nigerians are affected by kidney diseases. Chronic kidney diseases. About 25 million Nigerians.
And that's a lot. You just talked about dialysis. Do we have dialysis centers that can take care of this thing?
Very expensive.
And you understand that dialysis is very, very expensive. So about companies do downsize, people have to be in business, or life has to move on. Especially if you don't ban these things, it also affects another sector, the transportation sector, where we record accidents every other day. You see somebody that comes into the park in the morning and the first thing he does is to consume a lot of this and gets into the steering. And you have like 18 lives under his care, and all of a sudden, boom, there's an accident and everybody is gone. These things should be checked from time to time. I don't like the fact that the government is stopping all of this just to ensure that, according to the reason given, that so that people will not lose their job. Well, I think this is more like a devil's alternative. Whichever option we choose, health must rule. So it's either we decide to save people's life or to save people's job. But I'm happy that the SERAP has weighed in on this, and they have said, look, government, you need to enforce this ban because it is going to save lives. That's all I can say.
The people who started the fight was Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, when they were talking about job losses and every other thing, and the fact that our economy is not really the way it should be. But When I look at their reasons and also the harm that the consumption, especially early in the morning, if you get to bus stops this morning, before the driver that will convert passengers to their destination will move, you find out that they are either they must have done like 2 or 3 sachets. The conductor at the motor park is also taking something. And then when they want to address or talk to you, ask yourself, where are these people from? Are they really human beings? So, because you find out that everything about them will change because of the early consumption of alcohol. And they must or may have not had anything to eat in the morning, before that. But I had a little challenge with the way the president come up to say fuel subsidy is gone. Not because of the pronouncement of the removal of the fuel subsidy, but because you don't have other plans in place before that statement was made. And the work and the action immediately started working. I was expecting to hear or to get such from the Nigerian government regarding this ban on sachet PET bottles and sachet alcohol. Say no to it and say no to it. If we keep on placing it under this debate, Manufacturers Association will say their own today, Ministry of Health will say their own, NAFDAC will defend. Emotions will start dealing and things will start taking another turn. So is this causing harm? Yes, it is. Is it causing even because I don't think, no, the sachets are plastic now. Yes, they cannot go down. They are not part of the biodegradable. So is it also causing harm also to our ecosystem? Yes, it is, because of the fact that some of the people that Govt don't dispose the sachets properly. We don't have recycle bins on how to recycle them and use them again. So are we losing lives to this? Yes, we are. If the harms are higher than the benefits, please let's do away with it. That's all I can say.
All right, and now let's quickly run to the papers now. Nigerian Tribune has these headlines. Senate confirms Ibas, Ajimobi, Yakubu, Fanikayode, Omokri, 59 other ambassadors. Nigeria's 200 trillion cubic feet of gas can end darkness. Eyeson, new NUPRC boss, as Senate screens Farouk, Komalafer's replacements. LGs must get their money. Tinubu tells governors, says there is no autonomy without funding mandate, as APC showcases defected PDP governors at its 14th National Caucus meeting. We must create level playing field for new entrants. Akpabio. Banditry. Military operation underway at Oshun-Kwara boundary communities. Adeleke. Court dismisses Malami bail application to remain in EFCC custody. I never really belonged to PDP, Fubara declares. PDP crisis to Raki Wike's camps in another face-off over State Congress's excos. Wike's group ratifies dissolution of Lagos, Bauchi, Oyo, Delta excos. 10 others. Fixes state congresses for January 9. They are acting like dying horses. To Raki's camp, Awujale stool. Wasiu Anyide goes to court. Those are the headlines.
Up next is the first daily newspaper, the bold headline beside the masthead. Kuka visits Nnamdi Kanu in detention in high-profile meeting. Other stories that made it to the cover page of the first daily newspaper today. 2027, Tinubu already has 70% support in Rivers. That's coming from Fubara. Wike-backed PDP removes 14 state executives, fixes fresh congresses. NAFDAC destroys 55 billion naira worth of seized hazardous goods in Ibadan. Tinubu to present 2026 budget to National Assembly Friday. The banner headline, Rivers crisis. 90% of my ordeal came from PDP, Fubara. Reps launch probe into alleged alteration of tax laws. Court opposed EFCC detention of Malami, rejects bail plea. And the bottom strip headline, Ngige granted bail after 6 days in custody.
Now, okay, let's quickly run through the Vanguard newspaper. NSIA grows assets to $3 billion. Builds Nigeria's health, agriculture, and infrastructure sectors. This is the Vanguard newspaper, coming from the Vanguard newspaper. The big story, oil sector. Far-reaching reforms coming. Eyesan Mohammed vow. New broom sweeps clean. Tinubu's NUPRC, NMDPRA CEO's nominees assure at Senate screening. Will ensure investor confidence. accelerate gas development, ASN. Nigeria losing enormous value due to manual processes. Others. There will be strict enforcement of contracts, quality standards. Mohammed. Foreign Minister Tuga, that's a picture. Foreign Minister Tuga with crew of the 10th NAF plane, that's the Nigerian Air Force plane. Tax laws, altering legislations through official gazettes, illegal. Lawyers. Reps constitute committee to probe alleged alterations. Governor Yusuf lost Tinubu, Bichi over 47 billion naira Ujuwuju Road. Uncertainty over NAF aircraft departure to Portugal after release in Burkina Faso. Electoral Act. Reps back 2-year jail term, 5 million naira fine for vote buyers, sellers. Tinubu to governors, obey Supreme Court judgment. Let local governments receive their funds. And that's it from the Vanguard newspaper. And that's how far we can go on the newspaper review, newspaper headlines. Moses and I will return at 10 o'clock for extended review of newspaper stories, both the headlines and inside stories. Now we'll go for a short break. And when we return, Nigerians call for government action following discovery of killer herdsmen camps in Enugu. Join us again, we'll be right back.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Well, concerns have heightened among residents and observers that live within Enugu and its vicinity following the discovery of killer herdsmen camps in the vicinities. Well, some camps belonging to jihadist killer herdsmen were reportedly discovered in Ezago communities and their villages in Enugu State, with a renewed call for Nigerian government's attention in the areas. A new security report obtained by a media house on Thursday highlighted that the camps in Ezago communities and villages around Imeziowa, Abu Obuowa, Olo Mbabuowa, and Ohe communities, well, these areas are said to be the most affected areas, according to the report, which was released by the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law, Inter-Society. Inter-Society raised the alarm over the discovery of these terror dens that have been operating in forests across communities in the Ezago local government area of Enugu. In the report released, the investigative team said that the camps were uncovered during recent field findings in the area. Well, we've been joined in the studio here in Lagos by Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and a political affairs analyst. Good morning, Dele, and thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Okay, and from our Benin station, we'll be joined by Comrade Collins Oseher Amadin. He's a public affairs analyst as well as an APC chieftain and a media consultant. Good morning, Comrade Collins Amadin, and thanks for being part of the show.
Yeah, good morning, Chukuma. It's nice being with you this morning.
Good
Merry
morning,
Xmas
Collins.
in advance.
Merry Christmas. Compliment of the season to you. How have you been?
Doing very well. I'm trusting God for a better day.
Okay, very well then. Thanks for being part of the show. We'll also be joined by Barrister Asim Adam. He's a constitutional lawyer and a civil rights activist. He was former spokesperson, Chief Beatrice Tubo / Peter Obi campaign organization, the Labour Party in Rivers State in 2023. Okay, he will join us in the course of the program. Let's start with Dele here that is in our studio. Dele, we have a discovery. Inter-Society has a discovery that, look, a killer herdsman camp was discovered in parts of Enugu State. And I understand that there's a glitch somewhere. So let's take a short break and we'll be right back. Please do join us again. All right, well, welcome back and thanks for joining us. We apologize for that short break in transmission. Now, let's get into it. Mr. Fanimo, alleged killer herdsmen camps were discovered in parts of Enugu State. And we are dealing with a lot within the insecurity sector. And we have a government that is doing its best, to fight insecurity, to put a wage to the killings of Nigerians, whether they are Christians or Muslims. The important thing is that Nigerians are being killed. Now, we see a situation where more camps, are being discovered in parts of Nigeria, like the one that Inter-Society, just discovered in Enugu. What's your reaction to this discovery and the fact that we have a government that is doing well, but they seem to be overwhelmed, because these cells keep multiplying? What's your reaction to all of this?
You see, these herdsmen, killer herdsmen,
has become a mutating cancer. That the more you try to curb it, the more it spreads. It spreads in geometrical proportion. And it's quite unfortunate, like the security forces are appearing to be overwhelmed because they had to contend with so many of these marauding elements within the country. You just talked about Enugu's episode. Do you know that there was a video trending yesterday of a camp where youngsters as young as between 10 and 25 were being trained with Palestinian flag, at the background. And you could see from what that video portrayed that it was like indoctrinating and radicalizing those youngsters who may not even know the import of what they were doing at that moment. Now, if that is not stopped, it could also mutate to another crisis in that particular state. Enugu State shouldn't harbor as many as this, and that is why maybe if we begin to deploy the forest guards, maybe you're just talking about 20. By the time they do thorough mapping of some of these forests, you may just discover that 20 is just a far cry.
Okay, now the problem is that, look, these things are expanded. Not just in Enugu State.
That's what
There's
I'm saying.
also a video that showed a camp in Osun State.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know if you
saying.
have seen the video.
That's what I just
the one that
mentioned,
you
yes.
talked about. Now, a camp in Osun State, and these things are everywhere. Like Kwara, Kogi, Benue State is history now. Everybody understands that. But what, in your opinion, should the federal government do to stop these processes? This process, like you said, is like cancer that is metastasizing, instead of we are trying to stop it, but the thing is, multiplying by the day. What should the federal government do to stop all of this?
You see, either we like it or not, if we continue to wait for the federal government at the state level, we will not get into the root of this thing and then try to stop these people in their tracks. Governors should be brazen enough to fight this. There's a point to get to that will defy logic in attending to urgent issues. For instance, if Buhari had his way, Amotekun wouldn't have been here today. But to beat them in their track, Akeredolu single-handedly pushed the Amotekun narrative. And when they even ambushed the Southwest and said there was no constitutional power, he quickly drafted a law, sent it to the State Assembly, and replicated it across the Southwest. Today, Amotekun has come to stay. I think we should be intentional at the state level too, because I'm no longer convinced that the federal government alone can rein in these people. Okay. Because there's so much politics going on at the federal level, such that it's difficult to really go all out for these people. These people, they just call them killer Herdsmen. They are terrorists.
Okay.
Because when you say somebody is a herdsman, he's supposed to tender and attend to his cattle.
Well, we have a few registered herdsmen who have been given guns, so I don't know what you make of that. But let's take this conversation to our guest in Benin now. Good morning to you, Comrade Collins Amadine. Good morning to you once again. Now, the other day, it was Kwara State where we found 3 Miyetti Allah headers who had been given arms by the National Security, the Office of the National Security Advisor. And the Office of the National Security Advisor did not debunk that they gave arms to these individuals to help guard the forests. And also a vehicles were given to them, groups. But this particular group that was apprehended was said to have absconded with the arms, AK-47 rifles that they were given, and the vehicle that they were given as well. And Mr. Fanimo here talks about forest guards, and I don't know if it bothers you, but it bothers me to think about the fact that how do we even select those that will be guarding the forests? How do we intend to select them? Are we going to pick Miyetti Allah? Is it wise to pick Miyetti Allah headers because they know the forests and arm them and give them logistics, give them vehicles, knowing fully well that they might and can run away with these things given, and also attack those that they feel are coming after their cattle? What do you make of this? And then it's spreading as it is. Comrade. Well, comrade, I can't hear you if you're speaking because you might need to give your, up the volume of your microphone so we can hear you.
So, are you talking to me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Go ahead.
Sorry, we got some little technical issues here, so I really want to hear you until we spoke. Can you come back, please?
Go ahead, please.
I didn't hear your question.
Oh, my question is my question borders on the fact that the Office of the National Security Advisor was said to have given arms to certain individuals to help guard the forests and the rest. And these individuals are members of Miyetti Allah, the Miyetti Allah group. A few of them have been drafted into the security architecture of the state, as it were, with AK-47 rifles and vehicles given to them to help combat insecurity. Does that make sense? And these ones that were abducted, that were arrested in Kwara State, made away with the vehicles and the guns given to them. They ran away. They ran away. So, what is the sense in it? And the fact that non-state actors now have been drafted into the security architecture of the state.
There's no sense in it. I personally don't subscribe to that kind of gesture because these are persons who many actors have pointed fingers towards based on the position they have often taken, even when there are people who is said to be headers are involved, in a slaughtering of persons just in protecting their cattle. And you cannot legally weaponize them to secure what? It's unfortunate. Sometimes our people behave as if they don't think. Because if you think, ordinarily that neutral persons should be involved in this. There should be a task force instead where you have maybe new recruits and some security personnel helping them. Even some member of the army, if they have to beg, maybe to release some, as a way of task force. I think the law does not stop them at that point for assisting for a while. After the stabilization, they probably can go back to the barrack. But what do you do when people already have opportunity to administer and sometimes they tell you they know what they are doing and they don't know what they are doing? Because I think at this stage, they really don't know what they are doing. You cannot just because you want to make some persons feel happy and you give them mantle of authority to do more. Do you know what is called weaponizing people who often the time had said, even in Miyetti Allah leadership, have often said that the people don't want them, they're against them, they are the one hurting their own cattle rearers and what have you. So you have just given the opportunity to keep the unarmed citizens who would have liked to go back to their farm business or their forest work. But I think federal government the other time.
When you suggest we should allow them to move with security personnel,
have a good forest guard.
When you say we should allow them to move with security guards, maybe military or police, it was also noted that the action of what happened in Kwara State, we have a certain Victor who was also a sergeant from the Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria attached to these people who absconded with the guns and also the vehicle. Is it about giving them security personnel that work with them as joint task force, or do you think that the complicity which Nigerians have been crying or talking about is beginning to take another dimension in making sure that every work of the government to end the issue of insecurity is not gaining any ground?
When I said security personnel should be involved, just like when you say the worst form of democracy is still better than the military rule. So no matter how uncertain sometimes our security agencies are, yes, there are one or two cases where there are disbelief, but even at that, it's still better than allowing a group already known, because at the time, if we had some bold leadership in this country, even in Mieti Alagu, just as the Biafra people were declared to be terrorist group, at the time those people also deserved to become terrorist group because the way they were behaving and acting with all sense of impunity. So they are not even supposed to be part of this in any form, because ordinarily they are the people to be checked.
But finally, we saw them. The people who were recruited were also BATL group members and the Office of the National Security Advisor, according to what we learned from Kwara State, were the ones that empowered them with the guns and every other thing that they have to work with, just because I said they needed them to help to fight other insurgent groups that have been terrorized in Kwara State. We'll take this conversation to Barrister Asim Adams, who joined us virtually. Barrister Asim Adams, what do you have to say about this certain revelation made that over 20 jihadist terrorist camp, it's down somewhere in Enugu State? And let's also get your opinion on the way some people are beginning to play political and also religious and ethnic politics with this story of insecurity. A certain Professor Usman Yusuf, was quoted to have called on Christopher Musa, the Minister of Defense, telling him not to wage war against the Fulani bandits, that he must understand he's not a political officer or office holder and is not a battlefield, and he should find a way to, listen to the people more rather than going all out to say they want to fight Fulani jihadists or bandits that we know are causing carnages in Nigeria.
You see, if I got your question very correctly, it is unfortunate that many people from the northern part of Nigeria are talking about Fulani and to conquer in Nigeria. That number that the Nigerian government are complicit. They are complicit. The Nigerian armed forces are also complicit in the battle against insecurity in Nigeria. Fighting insecurity is not that difficult the way they make it look. The way they made fighting insecurity look in Nigeria, especially fighting terrorists and bandits, they make it look as if it is so difficult that it is only divine interventions, or you need a biblical Moses to come and lead the Nigerian people to war against the Egyptians. I don't think so. It was General Sani Abacha, the late Sani Abacha, that said that if any issue of insurrection, as if he knew that it was going to be a situation like this in Nigeria, said, if you have issue of banditry, insurrection, or situations of this nature, and the government of the day allow it to last for just 3 days, then you know that government has a hand in it. I think Abacha is a prophet.
Barrister Adams.
All right, we learned to having a little network glitch there. We'll bring the conversation back to the studio. Mr. Delifanimo, you were talking about us having forest guards. The state government up in their ante to make sure that it works. We shouldn't let the federal government take the fall of everything has to do with security. But I will also go back to what this individual talked about, during that interview, certain Professor Usman Yusuf. He said something about them moving or having a first-hand information about, where the bandits were and moving into the forest, with the military operatives and even the vigilante groups, we call them Yabanga, in the north. Then they moved into the forest. And according to him, he said they saw the devastation cursed when they eliminate the unscrupulous elements, the bandits terrorizing communities, killing children, raping women, sacking people from their community. I think one of our guests already told us that a certain ruler in Benue State is no longer in his own home because of the fact that some persons, after sacking the community, have decided to take over his building, and he's more like on the run, even from his ancestral home. Now, what do you make of this? Is it really the work of this? Do you think now that with this revelation made by this man, that the state government's effort, Enugu State has a forest guard, they are also working, and then I believe some other places too, we have a local vigilantes working, and yet, you think the state governor or state government can do something about this without the federal government ending the issue of open grazing, which Nigerians have said is the major curse of all this, insurgency and attacks?
You see, over the years, I've noticed one thing. You see, this culture of entitlement is behind all this problem. If somebody comes to your house and says, you don't have a right to this house, after all, it's no man's land. After all, God created the land. It was through migration that you find yourself in this particular place. So through migration, I also have equal right over the land. Whereas in their homestead, you can't even imagine it, not to talk of attempting to do it. So that culture of entitlement emboldens. And over the years, we have seen state actors at highest level supporting these shenanigans. If a whole former governor, former minister, former president, and president as at that time could say, your people are killing my people. If people that are in government today, one of these people that hold strategic position today in government, that is still serving this current government, that person served under Buhari, and he served under IBB and Abacha. This particular person was part of the entourage that came to harass a sitting governor in Oyo State. Back then, I was live in that chamber when he was harassing that governor. Now, is it not a way of embodying these particular elements that nothing will happen to you? And we have seen cases of you going to the police station to report harm done to you and destruction done to your farm.
Exactly the point.
And then when you get there, before you even leave the station, the person you have come to report without interrogation leaves before you.
It's left off the hook. Now, Dele, you recall, you and I, when we were driving to work this morning, and there was a caller, that called in on our radio program that said, look, with what is going on, the way we hear that governments, are the ones arming these insurgents, these terrorists, these bandits, like has happened in Kwara State, We also hear government say, look, we have been negotiating with terrorists and all of that. The idea of state police, how do you think that it will work if we have governments that are funding terror organizations in their states? Wouldn't they just simply use the state police to perpetuate and perpetrate the very crimes that the federal government is fighting, that Nigerians are fighting? What's your reaction
You
to
see,
that?
a property designated as our own is nobody's property. But a property designated as my own is your property.
Okay.
You think Enugu state government will have state police and those guys will be comfortable around that forest? No. Because no freeborn of Enugu state will know the devastating effect of allowing these people and still condone them, allow them to fester in those forests.
Yeah, but we also see natives that collude with kidnappers.
You see, those ones can be dealt with. You understand? Those are not stationary elements waging war. Those ones, they kidnap for ransom. Okay. And there are just pockets of them here and there. And if government is intentional, this state police will even address that.
Okay.
Because in your community in Abia State, you know the bad elements there. And once they enter that community, those of them that had exited, maybe traveled elsewhere, there's this feeling that, this guy has come. Everybody, be careful. Don't allow your children to go out in the night too. That is the essence of, intelligence gathering it's always easier when you have people that are your own providing security in your communities.
Now this concern, these concerns are expressed more in terror-prone states, where we see situations where we have government that is saying, look, despite the fact that we witness killing of Christians, the government says, no, there is nothing like Christian genocide. These are where the concerns are coming from. I understand that, down south here, let's be very realistic. You will not see a state police in a southwestern state, using the apparatus of state, of the police itself, to strengthen the activities of marauders and all of that. But our concerns are, people who express these concerns, express it in the light of when we go to terror-prone states like Zamfara, where we hear Sokoto, Jigawa, Kebbi, these terror-prone states, where we hear that, look, there's some form of collaboration between the government and these killers.
You see, the concept of state police is such that the state police man the states. It is only when there is a federal crime that the federal police comes in.
Okay.
And it's also if you are overwhelmed by superior firepower assailing you in your state, and the state police cannot deal with such, then you invite the federal
police. Okay.
So I can tell you that there will be some kind of uproar here and there. One of the things that will happen is the federal police would encroach into state issues when it starts.
Okay.
But over a period of time, it will be properly defined.
Okay, so overall, bearing this kind of concerns, you still approve of state police?
I absolutely approve of state police.
All right.
You think the bandits in Zamfara, if there is state police in Zamfara, and there's an amendment to the Constitution of Nigeria that the gold in Zamfara belongs to Zamfara State, and that there is no federal allocation that will come to pick every month, you think the state police in Zamfara will not counter the Torji and his boys?
So that shows, in essence, it's not just the state police now that Nigeria should be championing for, but also resource control.
Control.
But that is not making it. It's not making it to the discussion on the
you see why I said resource control. Because the gold in Zamfara belongs to Nigeria.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to anybody in Zamfara. So even when you see it being carted away, you don't bother. But if you know that, it's just like you have a pool where you draw food from.
Okay.
Because you have that pool, if somebody is taking your own food in your domain, you just allow it to go. Okay, let him take whatever he wants to take. In fact, there are
So
some places in Nigeria.
You don't feel like you own it and no need
but you know that if you know that your life depends on that food in your house.
So in essence,
and you don't have any other means of eating.
In
If
essence,
they cut
the
away
chief
this
security
food,
officers in states, which are the governors, are reluctant to protect their vicinity
because they know that they don't even have, in some cases you don't even have a fair share of what you own.
Okay, another issue is controlling these men. One very good example that jumps out at me is the Agune Chamber in Anambra, who overstepped their boundaries and stepped into, human abusing people. The core member who was stripped naked, abused, and another lodge who was that was broken into, and the people there, basically abused. How do we intend to effectively? Yes, I understand that those individuals that were involved in that, I think about 9 of them, were dismissed, but that doesn't solve the problem, because they have grievance against the society. But how can we effectively curb the excesses of individuals who are acting on behalf of the state without proper training?
You just nailed it. Without proper training. You see, when you train, you not only train for people to bear arms, even in martial arts.
But can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Because
these individuals are grown already. Minds have been formed. To be in the police or the military, the training starts from a tender age.
Now, let me tell you why it is so. You see, even in adulthood, you can train. You understand? I've been involved in some of these things. You see, you work on the psyche of this person. Not just the brute force of this is the way you handle your weapon, this is how you lie in the trench and all that. But there's a psychological training that restrains you from doing certain things. Okay. When you know that if you go this way, for instance, why is it that an average policeman or a soldier knows one thing for a fact, that if you disarm a soldier, in fact, the next available boss out of this country, he will want to run out. Because you can't go back to the barracks and say, one man took my arm. Because the first training you get in Depot, Zaria, or even in Kaduna ND is that your weapon is your wife. If you are a woman, your weapon is your husband. The physical husband or wife is secondary. So now at that level, you know that there should be proper care for your arm. And then there is rule of engagement. A good chamber person you're talking about, it happens in the Nigerian police force. It happens in the army.
They take laws into their hands and
they misbehave. Because there's a level you can control somebody who is already a bad person.
All right. Okay. We're running out of time. But let's get contributions from our virtual guests. Now, if we still have Barrister Asim Adams, let's just have his view on this before we wrap up this conversation. Barrister, well, I understand the network has been acting very funny, but now that we have you back, let's have you react to, the conversation.
Well, I think can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
All right. Well, I'm appearing program because I lost my elder sister. I lost her, and I just have to be here. So if I have to contribute to what is going on is this. We have so many ways that we can tackle this insecurity, banditry and terrorism. One is that the ungoverned spaces in Nigeria should be governed. So what I mean by ungoverned spaces? The areas where these bandits and terrorists reside. A bandit or a group of terrorists cannot leave Sokoto or even Kano or Kaduna and come all the way to Enugu to come and set up a camp without the people around them noticing that foreigners have invaded or come into their space. The full animal comes now, we will know him by his height, by his physique and his look. So when we now see about 10 Fulani men on the same trail, we are going to raise alarm. So the government must first of all find a way to govern the spaces. How do you govern the ungoverned spaces? The issue of this forest guard, I support it. The issue of sensitization of the villages, communities all over Nigeria to be vigilant is one thing that must be done. Presence.
All right. Yes, Barrister Sim.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We're running out of time. But
Can you hear?
I would like you to react to the story that broke on the 17th of this month about some individuals who were armed by the Office of the National Security Advisor, giving guns and a vehicle. Is that? Do you subscribe to? Mayeti Allah and other non-state actors to help fight insecurity, because we seem to be running out of manpower?
For me, if it is particular.
We do have a problem with the quality of the network from where Barrister Sim Adams is reaching us from. Unfortunately, we'll have to end this conversation in hope that he might, change location, and then we might be able to hear him better. Unfortunately, too, our man from Benin Station, Comrade Ahmadine, is also having network issues. We'll fix all the glitches and then get them into the other conversation that we have for this morning. Now we're going to Kwara State, where the State Assembly has taken action against a lawmaker. Well, the lawmaker has been suspended over a secret recording. Well, I do hope these gentlemen will be able to be part of this conversation if the network allows us. Well, let's talk about this when we come back.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice. Glad to have you back as Sylvia P. this morning. The Kwara State House of Assembly has suspended Saba Gideon, who represents Edo State constituency, for 3 months over alleged contempt of the House and breach of legislative privilege. The suspension followed revelation that the lawmaker secretly recorded a closed-door meeting of the Assembly and shared the audio with an unauthorized person. During plenary on Thursday, lawmakers said Gideon admitted to the act when the matter was raised on the floor of the House. The motion for his suspension was moved without notice by the leader of the House, Abdul Kadri Magaji. He cited Order 4, Rule 14 of the House Rules on Privileges and Section 14, Subsection 2 of the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. So this happened and reviews that FG arranged. Okay, and that is it on that one, the story surrounding the House of Assembly member who was suspended in Kwara State for recording the session of their meeting, closed-door meeting, and decided to share the audio of the outcome of that meeting with an authorized person. All right, we have with us in the studio, we still have Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter, and also joining us virtually, we told you we have Mr. Barrister Asim Adams and Comrade Amadine, who also joined us from Benin. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. Let me start off with you, Mr. Dele Fanimo. What do you make of this? The suspension of a lawmaker for secretly recording a closed-door meeting and sharing the audio from that meeting, with an authorized personnel. And what do you think could have been the reason behind the lawmaker recording the outcome of the meeting? And, went ahead to share the whatever resolution members of the House, must have reached in closed-door session.
You see, the law is the law. It is explicit that certain sections of the House rule prohibit a member secretly recording and divulging information. Just like in the civil service, there is this Official Secret Act. That's why sometimes when a document is a file, is said top secret. You dare not divulge, even if it affects your own person. So it shows if this man has confessed and admitted to the fact that he did what he did, I don't think it's something that we need to debate for too long.
What is really happening in Kwara State? What is really, like, because I need to ask this question in line that we've been getting so many information. The other day, it was also in Kwara State that we saw the Mieti Allah group members abscond with the vehicle and gun given to them. Though when they were caught, they said they were being empowered by the government. It took the government of Kwara State a few days to come up to say, we don't know anything about them, they work in the NSA. And then back and forth, the same Kwara State was where we learned that the governor made the media to stop reporting issue of insurgents or the bandit attacks and all that in communities. What is really happening in Kwara?
You see, whatever is happening in Kwara has nothing to do with this particular incident. This particular incident is a breach of the House rule. Except if the man comes to tell us exactly the content of that recording that is likely to undermine the security and well-being of people of Kwara State at that particular point in time. That's when we can now begin to interrogate it. But if it is not something, and even if there was a meeting, closed-door meeting, for that matter, and they were discussing things that may not be in tandem with the good people of Kwara State, then he has processes of divulging such information. He could as well go to the governor.
What does this even say about learning the ethics? Because this is very unethical.
It's unethical. You see, the problem here is some of these people, I don't know this particular person. Generally, some of these people, when they win election, they go on celebrations. When they are supposed to attend induction, that will give them the opportunity to familiarize themselves with some of these rules. And that's why when they now break the rule, and the rule is now coming face to face with them, they don't know ab initio.
Well, I think we're making light of it if we just hinge it on breaking a rule. I mean, it's against regular communication to record a conversation without consent. It's against normal conversation to do
As a matter of fact, in the media, even when the man gives you consent to record, he will tell you certain portion of this recording is off
the record. Exactly.
And you are duty bound, according to the ethics of the profession, to respect that person's view, and you don't let it out.
So now let's quickly bring Barrister Eze Eluchie into this conversation. He joins us virtually. Barrister, good to have you join us.
My apologies. The network is terrible over here.
Yes,
but I'll do my best to come in by audio. Yes.
Unfortunately, so I think it's. Everybody is jumping in on the network. It's the Christmas season, so everybody's trying to communicate with everybody else. I guess that's probably why we're having this network glitch. But I do hope that we can have this conversation and get your thoughts in. If a lawmaker, a state assembly lawmaker, has been caught in, the web of trying to be popular, because that's how I say it, trying to be popular on social media, because he made a recording of a conversation held within plenary and sent it to unauthorized personnel. Now, he's been suspended, but what does the law say? Let's look at it from the angle of the law now. What does the law say about issues like this? I know investigators can. If you're investigating an issue, you can record for the sake of having evidence, and you may not need consent to do that. But in some other areas, you need consent to record an individual or record a group of people or make a recording of any conversation at all. But in this regard, what does the law say? And what are the punitive measures for such breach, if it is one?
Well, thank you very much. I think I will take a different point of view on this issue. Firstly, I want to applaud that Kwara State legislator for what he did. Because for damn too long, Nigerian politicians have taken the view that governance and politics is a closed-door affair. It's a cabal affair. It's a mystic that we have to begin to imagine that what goes on there. In democracies, every debate in legislatures for the public good is publicized, is televised. There is actually supposed to be a channel, a 24-hour channel, so that people can follow debates and discussions on their behalf. Mind you, every legislator is there on behalf of his constituency, not for himself. So everything they say there ought to be to our hearing.
But the world over, there are certain conversations that may be detrimental if they go out just the way they are being discussed. And in some cases, the media, who are authorized to be in spaces like that, are even asked to step out. So there could be such deliberations without the media being part of it. So how do you react to that one?
No, I'm still asking you, let us not mystify governance. The legislators are not there for themselves. Everything they discuss, everything, perhaps with the exception when security issues are being discussed in some instances. Otherwise, everything they discuss should be available to the public. And suspending this legislator is most unfortunate, because they want to continue to debate this in in private. For goodness sake, the House of Assembly of a state is not a secret organization. They are there for our own good.
Barrister, is it?
Yes.
I need to understand. Is this your personal view? This is your personal view?
No. Right? No. Look, we are always willing to say, what does the law say? In parliaments, they have immunity from whatever they do within the parliament building, within the hall of the assembly. There is immunity. So the legislator has not committed any offense for what he did within the hall of that chamber. And this is not my personal view. This is the law. So
find someone that will come.
All right,
Thank you.
there seems to be an infiltration, but you may go ahead, please. Go on, please.
Hello, are you with me?
Go ahead, please.
Yes, those who are trying to crucify this legislator are not taking it the way it should be. Let me give you in the United States example. For example, every debate in Parliament, in the Congress, is publicized, with the sole exception of when they are discussing military issues. But even at that, certain things have to be publicized.
Exception. So there is an exception.
Now, unless the Kwara Assembly wants to tell us that what this man recorded was about security, which I very much doubt, if it was a mere congressional debate, all Kwara State indigents should be able to hear what is being said. And you see, we are too much used to this. Those in favor say aye, those in against say nay, and we don't know who said aye or nay. We must know these things. So the young man in Kwara who recorded that debate did not do anything. Rather, what the Kwara State government should do is to have a 24-hour channel, so that when I say every and anything anybody is saying,
when you say he did not do anything wrong, the leader of the House, Abdulkadir Magaji, cited the Order 4, Rule 14 of the House Rules on Privileges and Section 14, Subsection 2 of the Legislative House Powers and Privileges Act 2017, showing that they have a rule, a regulation already guided the House, which this young man, defaulted to, and they handed him over 3-month suspension. So are you saying that the Kwara State House of Assembly, they should take back the 3-month suspension and still allow the man to be there, even when he acted against their Powers and Privileges Act of 2017, I beg your pardon?
Definitely, because if they have rules in their house orders or the protocols with which they guide their house, which negates the principles of democracy, and that is popular participation, that rule should be expunged from their house rules. People should listen. That is why, for instance, every parliament has a public gallery,
all right,
where the people can come and stand and listen. But with the sole exception, I keep on repeating it, sole exception of when they are debating security issues.
Right,
so the 3 months, and I'm sure if this young man goes to court, that suspension will be lifted. There's always the penchant to mystify governance, which we must not fight against. Nigerians should applaud him. Nigerians should even ask their state legislators what is being said. Let us know what you are saying and what others are saying, for goodness sake.
Thank you so much.
It is not a cult.
Thank you, Barrister
Thank
for your submission. Barrister Asim Adams, if you can hear me, please, I would like to get your opinion on this too. Suspension of a lawmaker in Kwara State over the fact that he flouted the law, the House law, according to what we learned from the leader of the House, Abdulkadir Magaji. He cited Rule 14 of the House Rules on Privileges and Section 14, Subsection 2 of the Legislative Houses Powers and Privileges Act 2017, and the young man who represents Abu constituency have been sanctioned with 3 months for recording the audio session of the closed-door meeting that the Kwara State House of Assembly had, and also sharing the information with unauthorized persons or personnel. I heard the barrister say something about disagreeing, and I don't know why the network is really becoming a pain in the neck this morning. Okay, let's take the conversation to Amadine. Let's get your opinion on this, if you can hear me. Comrade Amadine that joined us from our Benin studios. What do you make of this? Why do you think this lawmaker will go all out, Gideon will go all out to record the session of the closed-door meeting of the Kwara State House of Assembly and also sharing the audio to unauthorized personnel? What do you make of this, please? And the suspension now that he has 3 months. He won't be representing his constituency in the House for 3 months.
Thank you very much. I feel it depends on what he recorded. There's so much distrust in this political system. And the Herdsmen have also resolved to go and sit and blackmail one particular leader, and at the end of the day, they will also say he's the one that moved the motion, you know, to undermine such a leader, especially when you are now in ruling government. So things happen. So just as Barrister had said, if the issues were of state secrets, yes, he can be sanctioned, he can be disciplined. But if it is the issue that's supposed to be personal, that they have not carried into the parliament as a way of secret discussion, I won't blame it from recording it, because even when you don't lie against the governor, people will go and say you have lied against the governor in order to bring you down. When 2, 3, 4 conspire and say yes, he said it, what proof does he have? So let them play the conversation they had. Let us know if he was wrong, if those discussions are supposed to even take place within the parliament, if both the speaker and other members are even the ones that are genuinely supposed to be suspended. Let us be the judge here. I am not saying that states or security issues or secret issues should be divulged to the public, but it also depends. Before that young man did that, he probably must have also monitored the attitude of members, especially when it comes to discussing issues that are political. Because some don't want you to go for second term, they can set you up. Some believe you are too close to the governor, they can set you up. Some believe your constituency likes you so much, they can set you up. And if he doesn't have a proof, he will be in problem, set problem. So if what he recorded was for the betterment of his political future, and at the end he goes for 3 months suspension, no problem, let him be here. But at least history will prove him right. And if what he also recorded was as a way of wanting to be smart, to use the statement to go and also lie, let Nigerians hear. So I am not, I believe that public things are supposed to be public. These are representative. And at the level of representation, majority of everything should be public. If you now have to dwell on security issues or state secret activities, then it's different. I don't think the guy will be as awkward to record that, because it will be of no personal benefit to him. But I think what he had recorded was either some people ganging up to bring another one down, and he wants to exonerate himself that he was not part of it. And sadly, the person probably gave the information, also did not manage the information well, and gave him this.
Okay.
All right. Well, what does this say to code of conduct, really? I mean, in offices, we see this happen when a few people are having a meeting and an individual is recording to report to somebody else. What does it say to ethics? You know, should that be encouraged? Whether it's the assembly or not, should it be encouraged, really? Especially in this era of social media, where people always want to sensationalize things and put things out there just to get to have the clicks and the likes.
Yes, that was what I'd say. In some cases, it depends on who you are dealing with. When you are dealing with sycophants, people who blackmail people at will, and they call for sensitivity and such.
It depends on. So you know,
yes,
it's good in some regard, and it's not good in another regard.
Now let me tell you what is conduct. What is code of conduct? When we say let us conduct ourselves, let's discuss. And after discussing, you go behind to state maybe 2 or 3 of you have hated me since in the house. You go behind to state what I never said. And I do not have opportunity to defend myself. For example, then I have run into a problem in trying to maintain code of conduct.
You say what you know you can say in front of the person.
Sorry?
Where's the place of integrity? A place of integrity states that whatever you put out behind a person should be something that you can state in front of the person. That's a place of integrity.
It's not a good thing to do. Nobody should encourage blackmailing in every form. whether by members or by those who recorded. If those who called for that meeting also do not have cockroaches in their cupboard, and the conversation they had haven't opened their anus, I do not think they should have reasons to
Let's be
worry
mindful of
much.
language. Thank you very much. Thank you, Comrade Ahmadine. Let's be careful language. This is morning television. Well, let's move away from this conversation. Let's move into another. Senate makes move. Senate has officially confirmed 64 ambassadors. Let's look at the ambassadorial list and this confirmation and what it means for Nigeria. The Senate on Thursday confirmed 64 ambassadorial nominees of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, including a former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, and a former presidential aide, Reno Omokri. The confirmation follows the consideration and adoption of a report by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, which said all the nominees were screened and found suitable for appointment. The exercise came 48 hours after the upper chamber confirmed 3 non-career ambassadorial nominees. The presence of Lateef Kayode Are from Ogun State, Aminu Dalhatu, Abia State, Okezie Ikbazu. In all, the confirmed nominees comprise 34 career ambassadors and high commissioners and 30 non-career ambassadors and high commissioners. Interesting names on this list. Interesting names, I must say. Now, there was a bit of backlash. Let me start off with, Comrade Ahmadine. Yes. There was a bit of backlash as to these individuals, if they represent the best interest of Nigeria, especially Reno Omokri and Femi Fani-Kayode. Nigerians reacted. In fact, some individuals in the diaspora reacted to the nomination of Reno Omokri. But we have seen that it's been take a bow and go, and the take a bow and go has taken effect. These nominees have been cleared by the Senate, so very soon they might be resuming at the different embassies around the world. But what does this mean for Nigeria, especially as the countries that they will be going to? Well, we haven't been told what countries they will be going to. But what should we expect? Can those countries refuse to accept them? If they can, what steps should the government take to ensure that Nigeria is not embarrassed in the international community? Comrade Ahmadine, let's have your thoughts on that one, and then we'll bring it to other guests as well.
Thank you very much. I do not think receiving states will have any reason not to accept those we are sending. One, they don't have direct criminal cases, either with them or anywhere around the world. Or there's no courts that
Nigerians have raised questions about some of these nominees. Mahmoud Yakubu, who oversaw INEC. Nigerians have raised questions. What experience does he have in ambassadorial affairs? Reno Omokri, questions have come up.
That's where I'm coming. Nigerians who had issue with him probably were the one that feels when he conducted the election, they didn't have opportunity to rig the election. Some of those, everybody have mixed feelings. But the fact that you have mixed feelings doesn't make it correct. Mahmoud is a nationalist. He has proven himself. He conducted an election that Nigeria is standing. He conducted an election that ruling party lost election. Ruling government lost election. So can there be any other best INEC chairman you can reach for? No. So that on one side. Omokri was once a critic of this government. And the government have also grown beyond that and say it's not about whether you were my friend yesterday or not. We think with all of this your voyaging, let's give you opportunity to go and speak for us. After all, foreign mission is for advocacy. So if for somebody who can speak on behalf of his country, so go and display this your capacity of I want to stand for the defenseless and all of that over there. So it's a
interesting take you have. Quite interesting.
There may be issues of one or two people may have said.
Yeah, issues of one or two people. Some of these things are in the public domain, Comrade Ahmadine. Some of these things are in public domain. A protest, I don't know if you can hear me, a protest held by Reno Omokri when President Tinubu won election in 2023 was at the square in London, where he was chanting Tinubu Ole and those other things. Do you think the society, the world, will think that he's a serious person if he turns around 360, 2 years down the line, to be a representative of a government that he's so denigrated?
There's nothing probably more different with him from every other politician. He was a politician. He said with Jonathan, and I think when he was there, he had a lot of places from the PDP. So he has also did a 360 and said he was not well informed at the time he gave some critics. But it's not left for Nigerians and the entire world to now see him prove himself this time. But I have a problem with some of the list, the names in the list, not because individual problem. For example, in Edo, three names were sent out from Edo, 2 career and a non-career. We have 3 senatorial districts in Edo State. Those 3 names have come from 1 senatorial district, where we have a senator. He went there to sit down to be looking. While names were sent, Edo South is the largest senatorial district in the state. We do not have minister. We do not have the governor. We do not have ambassador. You can imagine.
All right, so I see your grievance.
Now, Collins, you are probating and reprobating at the same time. Collins, you are probating and reprobating at the same time. Now, it is convenient for you to complain about the spread in Edo State, but you now dismiss the fact that some people are against the choice of the president in Reno. I can't recall, or maybe you have to tell us when the Reno came out to say publicly, look, I was wrong on President Bola Tinubu's drug case. I was wrong on his certificate issues and all of that. And you turn around also to support the appointment of Mahmoud Yakubu when Nigerians, the elections he conducted has been, the worst election so far in Nigeria. What's your reaction to your cherry picking?
I never probated or reprobated. Chukuma, you must state it very clearly. Now you were talking about the integrity of persons that were saying. And I told you Mahmoud is a nationalist based on my conviction. And the conviction, he conducted an election where somebody got 6 million votes, 1 Abuja and 1 Lagos. If the election was to be run, do you think that will happen? When people who never had identity got over 20 senators, a political party that didn't have structure? Please, because when we want, you talk about more during the screening.
That will be from your state also are nationalists, and that is why the president picked them to represent him in that ambassadorial list. So you shouldn't have a problem with that.
All right, so we take the conversation to Ezra Luche Barrister. Let's get your opinion on this. Finally, the Senate have approved the 64 names presented to them by the president.
Well, Barrister Ezra Luche, you might need to unmute your microphone so we can get your contribution.
Yes, I have unmuted it.
Go ahead, please.
Good. I think the list presented by the president certainly does not reflect Nigerians. And I believe that those countries that these people will be posted to have a right to reject some of them. Because what really happens in these cases is this. The country an ambassador is posted to will have a dossier on that ambassador from their embassies in Nigeria. And the embassies of this country are already aware of the characters of some of these people, and they will be in a better position to accept or reject them. And I'll go with some specific examples. Somebody like Reno Mokri and Femi Fani-Kayode, these people have been they have hated the Igbos with passion in their posts, in their comments. Now, in any country where these people are posted to, and you have Igbos in those countries, will they be happy to say, this is my ambassador? A man who hates the Igbos with passion? With regards to the former DSS Director General, Are, who said over $40 million was found in cash in his house, and the issues were muddled up. Yes, there was no conviction, there was arrest, but the fact is, these countries they are being posted to already know this, because this we have in the public domain. So the people, when you look at all these ambassadors, they do not reflect either the first, second, third, or fourth 11 of Nigerians. They are like the dregs of our society in most cases. You have governors who decamped. I mean, ambassadors should be people who are of the top notch in a country that can project our image. But what do we have? We have those who will insult Nigerians. The issue of the INEC chairman, for instance, the international.
I guess
it was adjudged the worst, and you have now made him an ambassador to reward him. Unfortunately, where all this leads to is that the world will continue to take Nigeria as a pariah state, as a state that is and that is why countries will keep on having visa restrictions. Because if you have this, if these are the kind of characters you have as ambassadors, characters known to these foreign authorities, because they know them. Don't just think that they wait on what you present. Okay. America or Britain will not wait that you are going to present a dossier of this minister. They have gone back home and they have known who you are sending to them.
Thank you.
Because as an ambassador, he will mingle with the high and mighty, and they don't want fraudsters or drug dealers mingling with their high and mighty.
I think time
that is why
they're saying they would
yes.
waiting for them to do that. So let's get the opinion of Mr. Dele Fanimo maybe in 60 seconds, because I know you will still sit on the table at 10 o'clock to dissect this proper during the newspaper review analysis.
Well, what I would say is the deed had been done. And nothing.
Do you think?
The deed has been done. The Senate has passed the bill.
Do you think the countries will have any right at all to reject any of these names, seeing that this is coming from Nigeria? These are the people we want.
I've not seen that happen in history. Maybe I stand to be corrected.
Whether they have those rejecting nominees several times.
It happens. They have the right to.
I've not experienced.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right then.
I think this is how far we can go on this show. This is Voice of the People this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Fanimo, political analyst, for being here with us. Also, thank you, Comrade Collins Osage and Amadin. Thank you, Barrister Ezra Eluche. Thank you, Barrister Asi Madam Zone Network. Now let us get your opinion on some of the important discussions that we have on the table today. Thank you also the backroom staff, the people that made this production a beautiful and a wonderful one today. All right, and thank you also for you that watch us for these 2 hours. I am Fina Okechukwu, and I'm asking you once again to continue to be patriotic. Believe me, Nigeria will be great again. Yes, Hado Chukuma and Moses will still look at me that way. We are giant of Africa regardless. A giant is once a giant, and we can never go down.
That's fine,
again.
that's fine. If that makes you sleep at night, it's okay. Well, that's it on the show today. That's it on the show today. Join us again at 10 for a newspaper review. I am Moses Humphrey.
I am Chukwuma Okorofina. Unfortunately, you're a sleeping giant.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Do you want your voice